Hey everyone, and welcome to this explainer. Today, we're literally building a roadmap to financial independence. We're going to climb the financial ladder together, step by step. We'll look at exactly how to deal with a small amount of money, what to do when you're dealing with a large amount of money, and finally, how to invest for massive long-term growth.
But first, I want to kick things off with a pretty critical question. Will your money outlive you? I know, it's a bit of a provocative thought right out of the gate, but establishing the real-world stakes of financial planning, well, that's where every successful journey begins. If we don't know the parameters of the game we're playing, we can't possibly expect to win it.
And honestly, the stakes are incredibly high right now, purely because of modern life expectancy. Looking at the data from JP Asset Management, the reality of our extended timelines is pretty eye-opening. Thanks to huge advances in medicine and generally healthier lifestyles, we are living so much longer. Get this, if you're a 65-year-old couple today, there's a staggering 50% chance, a literal coin flip, that at least one of you will live another 25 years and reach the age of 90. So what's the big takeaway here? Your money absolutely has to work much, much harder, because it's going to have to last a whole lot longer than you might think.
So, here's our roadmap for the day. We're covering 5 key steps: managing your small money, deploying a large sum, designing a growth portfolio, the power of compounding, and finally, staying the course.
All right, let's jump right into step 1, managing your small money.
When it comes to everyday budgeting, there's actually a massive variety of actionable frameworks out there to help you take control. Because let's be real, if a budget leaves out those easily overlooked expenses or never lets you have a fun shopping trip, you're just not going to stick to it. You could try the classic 50-30-20 rule, which neatly splits your income into needs, wants, and savings. Or maybe the 80-20 pay yourself first method, where you instantly lock away 20% for savings and just live off the rest. Then there's the envelope method, an awesome cash-only system to literally force you to stop spending when your credit card is burning a hole in your pocket. But honestly, I really love the mindful Japanese approach called Kakeibo. By keeping a physical ledger and answering really specific questions about your spending, Kakeibo actively encourages mindfulness. It's incredibly effective at stopping impulse buys right in their tracks.
Now, once you've got your budgeting framework dialed in, your absolute first priority is building an emergency fund. Because let's face it, a busted water heater shouldn't force you into high-interest credit card debt. It's wild, but a majority of people don't even have enough savings to cover a $1,000 emergency. If your car suddenly breaks down, you need a safety net of readily available cash. Without that buffer, even a minor stroke of bad luck can completely derail your entire financial ladder.
So, the golden rule here, the target number you need to remember is 3 to 6. You need to calculate your essential monthly household expenses and tuck away 3 to 6 months' worth of cash. Keep it secure in an easily accessible, ideally high-yield savings account. Think of this as your ultimate financial shock absorber.
Moving right along, let's hit step 2, deploying a large sum.
Okay, so when you're dealing with a large chunk of money, say you get an inheritance or a huge year-end bonus, you're going to face a classic dilemma. Do you invest it slowly or all at once? Well, dollar cost averaging means you methodically invest the cash in equal installments over a period of time. This is a brilliant way to lower your initial timing risk. On the flip side, lump sum investing means deploying all your capital at exactly the same time. Now, Morgan Stanley actually ran the historical numbers on this, and they found that in over 56% of historical cases, lump sum investing generated slightly higher annualized returns simply because it gets your money working faster. But, and this is a big but, human psychology is a massive factor here. Dollar cost averaging prevents that brutal short-term regret of investing everything the day before the market takes a dive. Ultimately, the right choice is about balancing the mathematical edge of a lump sum against your own personal comfort with market volatility.
Next up, step 3, designing a growth portfolio. A highly effective strategy detailed by Saxo Bank for this is called the core satellite framework. It works like this. The core makes up the vast majority of your portfolio, usually around 80%. This part is filled with broad, low-cost, passive investments like index funds or ETFs that just track major market benchmarks. It gives you steady, tax-efficient market exposure. Then, the satellite portion is that smaller 20% slice, and that's reserved for targeted, active growth opportunities. We're talking sector-specific investments or individual stocks, where you're aiming for higher returns and are willing to accept a bit more risk to get them. This setup gives you a fantastic mix of broad diversification plus targeted growth.
All right, step 4, the power of compounding.
Before we get into the magic of compounding, we first really need to understand the cost of doing nothing. A lot of risk-averse savers think simply hiding cash under the mattress is the safest bet. But data from JP Morgan paints a pretty stark picture. Cash is rarely king. If your money sits uninvested, its purchasing power, so the actual amount of stuff it can buy, will decrease by more than half over a 40-year period. And that's assuming just a standard 2% annual inflation rate. Basically, if you don't invest for growth, inflation will literally, silently, eat away half of your wealth.
The alternative to that silent wealth killer is the explosive mathematical miracle of compound interest. Compounding is what happens when you earn returns not just on your initial investment, but on the accumulated gains from all the prior years. It's like a snowball rolling down a hill. Check this out. If you start investing just £5,000 a year at age 25 into an investment growing at 5%, you're going to end up nearly £300,000 wealthier by age 65 than someone who started doing the exact same thing at age 35. That is mind-blowing. Even though you only invested an extra £50,000 out of your own pocket over those 10 extra years, the compounding effect created hundreds of thousands in totally free wealth. It just goes to show, time is absolutely your biggest advantage.
And that brings us to our final point. Step 5, staying the course.
I really want you to internalize this incredible insight from Carver Financial Services. They said, the most effective investing strategies are often the least exciting. Boring wins. You know, we live in this crazy world of endless hype, meme stocks, and overnight crypto millionaires. But true long-term wealth, it's not built on chasing wild, outsized returns. It's built on staying incredibly consistent, avoiding the big, catastrophic mistakes, and just letting that compound growth work its quiet magic in the background.
Now, of course, the journey isn't always going to feel boring. There will definitely be terrifying moments. If you look at historical market data, there are always these scary red dots, the maximum intra-year drops. Basically, market pullbacks happen almost every single year, and they look completely terrifying when you're in the middle of them. But if you look at the final calendar year returns, the story changes. Despite those double-digit drops during the year, overall annual returns ended up positive in 29 out of the 40 years measured. History overwhelmingly suggests that a well-diversified portfolio rewards the people who can resist the urge to panic sell. Patience for sure consistently pays off.
Well, we've definitely covered a lot of ground today, from mastering your everyday budget to riding the massive long-term waves of compound market growth. So I want to leave you with one final, kind of provocative question to ask yourself right now. What is your money actually doing today? Is it just sitting there uninvested, slowly losing out to inflation, or is it methodically climbing the financial ladder toward your long-term independence? The choice and the strategy is entirely in your hands. Thank you so much for joining me for this explainer, and I'll catch you next time.